guest out in Australia, Adriana. And give me 1 second. I'm going to go live on Instagram, tell them that we are here. If you guys have any questions for me or Adriana during the episode, just put them in the comments and we will look at the end. Live. Your Instagram handle is Adriana Loves _, yeah?
That's right.
Got it. Okay. If you want to see us both, go to YouTube or Facebook, search Noel Strength. Awesome. All right. Pin that. All right, good. This will be fun. Share. Facebook makes it so easy to share in different groups and stuff. I love it. I always forget that I have groups to share it.
I never hardly use it, but it is good.
All right. All right, guys. Cool. All right, let's do it. Technology. It's so fun. Recording. Awesome. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Really excited for today and to introduce you guys to today's guest. We have Adriana. I will not try to pronounce your last name since I didn't ask before we started. You can pronounce it if you like. She is out in Melbourne, Australia. And that's not a word that I always said correctly. I got lots of Aussies correcting me when I used to try to pronounce the whole thing, Melbourne, because that's how it's spelled. But it's Melbourne for all of you out there. Just don't say that to an Aussie. But she's awesome. We connected on Instagram really just a few days ago, and knew that she would be awesome to have a conversation with. And I reached out to her, and she was excited to come flow some awesome energy with us. Adriana is an intuitive reader and a mindset coach and just awesome human, and just excited to talk to her today. So without further ado, for me, introduce you guys to Adriana, and if you could share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, all that good stuff.
Sounds good. Well done. I mean, that was pretty good. The last name is Andelkovic, and no one can say it, so you're not alone. And yes, that is me. I am an intuitive reader and a mindset coach, and so many people ask me, yeah, cool, but what is that? So to shed a little light on what that is exactly is I read and heal and clear energy. So, and then a mindset coach is more about the coaching side of things, so more about those neuro pathways, resetting new ones, and really looking at, mostly with people in small businesses, how they can really amplify all areas of their life. For me, it was kind of a funny little start to this career. I realized about, I'm going to call it now, maybe a year and a half ago, so not long at all, I realized that something really different was going on, and I was in between careers, kind of in my mid-20s, and kind of having no idea what was next. And I was meditating a lot, and I was writing a lot, I was journaling a lot, and I realized I could see, hear, feel exactly what was going on for another person. And over time, I adapted these skills, and I really realized that, hold on a sec, I could use these skills to impact other people's lives and show them where they're not looking. And I got really good at realizing I could see the gap for people and then bridge that gap for people from a real energetic perspective. It's obviously taken me what now is a year and a half to really, I think, harness my skill and realize what it is I want to do to show people. And really it just became a vehicle for what I always wanted to do, even in my other careers, which was show people how to live more fully, more completely, remember who they are, return them back to their center, which is essentially what I was always trying to do, even in my last career, but I didn't realize how I could do it until this kind of came to me, and I was like, holy crap, this is real. This can really shift people. And now I'm able to have clients all around the world doing it remotely, showing them how they can, shift and change their life. And in turn, that's always changing my life, because whenever I'm talking to a client, I'm like, God damn, I needed to hear that too. So it's been a really magical journey that's brought me here to say I'm those things, and I can speak on stages and facilitate retreats and do all these beautiful things and live here in Melbourne, like you said, and over in Bali at the same time. And it's just been a really magical journey to here. Not simple, definitely, but really beautiful. So that's a little bit about me and how the hell I got here.
I love it. I love it. And as you know, and as all of us know, life is just a constant evolving and a journey that, it's so awesome how you describe that, because you had the intention and you knew you were open to making an impact on other people. You just hadn't discovered yet how. And that's a beautiful example for all of us, as far as like, there's things that because of the life experience we've had up until now, we know that we want to, we have a feeling like we want to do certain things in the world, while we're here. And we might not know how that looks right now. And the good news for all of us is we don't need to know the answer as far as how to anything right here and now, but to be open to, having it come to us. And, Adriana is such a great example of that, because now just, in the past, year or two, she's been able to not only become aware of some things that have been impactful for her, and and I love that what you just described, because I'm the same way. Like, you'll be flowing something out, and be like, "Ooh, that was really good. Like, I needed to hear that also." And that is a really good example of what someone will call like channeling, really from a frequency where you're connected to this energy, you're connected to call it God, the universe, love, source energy, all that is, spirit, source, whatever someone wants to call it. And you could just have these thoughts flow through you and out through your mouth, and to help another person, especially when we're in the energy of wanting to make an impact on someone else, happens a lot from that energy. Like, I always love when people ask me questions. Like, I always have a really good answer to share with them from that place. So that's awesome. I love that. Like, for you, when did you first like realize that? Kind of, because I always am curious and very interested when it comes to our human journey, how the light bulb kind of can switch on for us, where we realize, really who and what we truly are. And for some, very few, I've noticed, like, because when we come in as little babies and we come from non-physical energy and we're just these little balls of unconditional love, like, we're very aware of it then. We just can't speak in words yet. We can't really express what it is that we know. And then we grow up a little bit and we go off to school and we start comparing ourselves to other kids, and the world starts telling us we have to be a certain way, and our parents tell us we have to be a certain way in a lot of cases. But then there's a few, so the light bulb has to come back on at some point, in our journey. For some, I've noticed though, they have parents or people that are like encouraging and inspiring their journey, even from a little kid, to where they can just evolve as these awesome little beings. I don't speak to people as much where that's the case. But what was like your journey like? Like, did the light bulb have to like switch on for you at some point, or were you just always this enlightened little being your whole way through?
That's funny. It's so interesting. I love this question, because it's something that I never really spoke about, publicly when it first was happening. But essentially, 100%, it's the unbecoming. And I think I was blessed with, I didn't realize this at the time, but I was blessed with the gift of time. So I closed a fashion label that I had, which was ethical and sustainable, which was my way of contributing at the time. And I changed careers, not knowing what was next at all. But all I knew is that I was going to promise myself, and I'm a hard worker. Like, I was someone who was just like super ambitious. What's my next career? I promised myself 3 months. So not knowing anything about this 3 months at all, I was like, you know what? I promised myself I'm going to have 3 months to myself to slow down. I kind of had a bit of money. I ended up working for my brother 2-3 days a week, which is really nothing. I had the other 4-5 days a week to do whatever I wanted. So in those other days, I was meditating, I was writing a lot, which is what now is becoming my book, which is very exciting. I was journaling, I was catching up with friends, I was having beautiful conversations. And this is where the remembering started happening. And I started having all these moments drop in, which I know you can imagine and understand, of times in my life from 4 all the way to 24, 25-ish at the time, where I had abilities to deeply use my intuition, and I had seen things that later happened in my life or other people's life, or I had heard things that later happened, and I had shut it down so much and wondered why my life didn't flow, wondered why I couldn't find alignment, wondered why I couldn't sleep at night. I was in resistance the whole time of who I truly was. So, of course. So as time went on, I'm starting to remember. I'm mind blown at this point. I'm having these crazy dreams of remembering things and just having all these wild experiences. Then the next level kind of came up. So that part was kind of, okay, I can deal with this. Then I started noticing when I spoke to people or just looked at people, I could see shapes above their heads, numbers, letters. And then as time went on, hear a voice in my right ear. And I was like, I'm not crazy. And you talked about parents, and as beautiful as my parents are, my dad passed away when I was 18, and he was very black and white, Serbian, very structured. And my mum, beautiful, but a bookkeeper and from a totally different background. No one in my family was spiritual. So for me, I was like, what is going on with me right now? Thankfully, I had a Reiki healer at the time, and I went to him and I said, this is what's going on. Like, what do I do? And I remember so well, he grabbed me and his eyes watered up and he was like, finally, it's happening for you. And I was like, what's happening? And he really guided me and nurtured me through that process. And from there, it was just a lot of learning, unlearning, playing with the skill and seeing how it worked for me, because everyone's different and everyone's gifted beautifully and differently, although somewhat the same, of course. And from that point where the light bulb did, click on, it was just a matter of learning to live with it and work with it as with being a human as well. So I think that was a really interesting journey for me that year and a half ago. And since I really learned to balance both worlds, I feel, and to integrate, I think, as well.
I love it. And now, like, to be able to, that's what's so much fun about, the journey that you're on, Adriana, and, for any of us in life, as we experience things and become aware of things that benefit us, there's those like you that have the inspiration to also share and to want to impact other people, which is going to allow, light bulbs to pop on for them, and also for them to then be inspired to go, do whatever they feel like they're here to do and create whatever they're here to create, which I think is just awesome. Like, I love, this is why I do what I do. It's just to help people with the awareness to be able to, be out there, go out there and know that, there's no like special breed of us that can only, be in this light, and to be able to connect to this energy and to be able to flow it and to be able to create, like, that's who all of us truly are. And at the same time, we're all attracted and drawn to different things and have unique life experience. So we're not going to all be like focused and doing the exact same thing. It'd be a really boring world if like all 7.7 billion of us were only into the same stuff. And so it's really fun. Like, I love what you're doing. Like, right now, what are you super excited about here in 2020? Like, what's going on out there in Adriana's world now? You're hanging out in Melbourne for a bit, and you mentioned Bali as well. Like, what's going on in your world?
So much. There's always so much going on. I've always been one of those people, and I think I'm really trying to learn to be slower, which is definitely happening. So that's interesting. But for the moment, I'm really focusing on a few key things. So definitely my intuitive work, because I'm finding that's what really people are getting drawn to and what people are feeling like they need. So that's always a focus, which is super beautiful, because I can do it here, I can do it in Bali. It's that beauty of, you were saying about technology, it's that beauty of that right now. So that's really beautiful. I head back to Bali in about 3-4 weeks. So it's really learning that having that freedom to be where I want, when I want, how I want. So that's really what this year is about, doing that travel while still being grounded. So that's really fun for me to look forward to. A Europe trip does look like it's planned as well. So really having that beautiful feeling of being able to do all of that, focusing on all those beautiful things that coaches do, like courses and one-on-ones, and really like sinking my teeth in. Last year was my first year in this field. So it was almost like putting my feelers out. And I feel like now it's more, what do I want? How do I want to deliver it? I don't care what anyone else is doing. And I'm much more in me, which is really, really nice. And working on the book, which is super exciting. And if all goes to plan, which, I trust, is with an editor, hopefully by the end of this year. So that's a really beautiful, almost healing, cathartic process for me as well. And always just refining my skills, learning. A lot to look forward to. It's really, really special.
I love it. You just inspired me with something that you said right there that I think will be beneficial for the audience, because you mentioned, and this is an awesome place to be, as far as not worrying about what anyone else is doing as far as like their life path, but just asking yourself, getting really clear on what it is that you want for you. This is an awesome part of life, because when we get clear on what we want for ourselves, if there are people that are, have done things, in that space that we want to use as inspiration, then for sure, like, it's really awesome that we can use other people's life experience to also inspire us, and we'll inspire other people with our life experience as well. At the same time, even if someone, wrote a book on the same subject that we're writing a book on, or did a course on the same subject, it's going to be a totally different book and a totally different course coming through your unique life experience. And this is for everybody out there, because none of us have lived the same life experience. So whatever it is that you're clear about that you want to experience, you can use inspiration from others, and at the same time, not even like need to worry about what has been done in this way, because there may be something that you're asking the universe, and I'm 100% example of this. Like, the things that I've asked the universe to show me as far as how can I create something that will allow humanity to allow this to happen. And whatever that question is, I can allow the answer to find me in so many different ways when I'm ready to use the individual pieces of it. And what's interesting, and you'll see this more and more, Adriana, and I'm sure you've already seen it from the things that have led you up into where you are today. And everybody out there, you guys will see this more and more. The more life experience that we have, you'll find yourself using things that were part of your life experience 5 years ago, 6 years ago, today. And you're like, wow, I had no idea I was going to be using that for this. But if without having experienced that then, I wouldn't even this is necessary in what I'm doing now. So you're inspired to say something, I can tell.
I couldn't agree more. It actually makes me clearly, by the look on my face, so excited. When I'm teaching people and they come to me, obviously I've grown businesses before, I have another business with my brother, like, I have both worlds kind of happening in my brain, that deeply kind of, let's use the word, spiritual world, and then I have that very practical business sense, and combining them both was really interesting. And people are always like, so what did you do to grow this business? And I always come back to that theme of, what is it that you want? Because like you said, with your voice, it's unique tone, and together, if we look at that thing of frequency and vibration, we're harmonizing together, right? But the way I tell the same message, I'm not telling people anything new when I talk about intuition and alignment, but the way I share it, in my voice, in my tone, the way I explain things, hits the exact audience that I need to hit. So no matter how many healers are out there, no matter how many mindset coaches are out there, people need the way I describe things. People need the way you describe things. And I think it's really important for us all to remember that, because it's so easy to be like, so many people are doing that, so many people are doing this, and really coming back to that place all the time. And then on the contrast from a business perspective, I'll get people being like, how many times should I post? And Gary Vee said this, but then this person said this. And I simply bring it back to what's in alignment for you. For me, something I've been thinking about a lot is, content creation as someone who's energetically super sensitive, is that creating 50 pieces of content a day doesn't interest me right now. Maybe in 5 years, I'll change my mind. I'm free to change my mind, so that's okay. But right now, it's not in alignment with me. Creating 1 or 2 a day is like an energy stretch for me right now, and I have to honor that, because my alignment has to come first. So I think it's just this different way of looking at everything now, and it's super, super beautiful.
I love that. Such a great reminder for everybody what you just shared. And I'm the exact same way. Like, what is most important to me, like from now until forever, is what's my vibe, what's my frequency, what's my energy, what's my mood right here and now, present moment, and letting everything that I do just reflect that, because I know that that's what's happening anyway. And so if today it feels good to post a bunch of stuff, like I've gotten in the habit of now putting a podcast out almost every day. But there's some days, that's why when I tell the guests like when these are going to be out, I kind of almost know. But then there's some days where it's just like there's so many other things flowing in the day where it seems like a task to edit the podcast for that day. And it just doesn't, I can give myself grace to where it's like today, there's not going to be one that comes out. And there will be one that comes out tomorrow. I'm even more excited to put one out tomorrow in that case. So yeah, I'm totally there. And yeah, I've heard Gary Vee mention the 50 pieces of content a day. I love Gary Vee just because he's a mix of, like, I love his message just shifted to happiness first, and at the same time, he's just like, because early Gary Vee, before he like shifted his message to really thinking about being happy is like his primary message now. I like that. Before it was just like grind, 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 no matter what. And I was like, that doesn't really resonate with me, because there's some days where, yeah, I'll work for, many hours in a row and it doesn't feel like work because I'm like I have a lot of momentum going. And there's other days where I just want to chill or do something else, or, do the parts of the business that doesn't require a lot of, mental energy, just like, whether it be editing or whatever the case may be. So I'm totally there with you on that. That's awesome. And giving people permission to, yeah. So, because I mean, without, like, here's what I know. It's like, if our vibe and our frequency, if we're like in the moment and, we're excited to do something, or we're focused on something, we're flowing our attention, towards anything, that's where our energy is going. And if we're totally lined up with that and in alignment in those moments, we're going to be so much more effective than if we're just like, I got to do this because I'm trying to get this result. And like, I'd rather be doing this. And our energy is kind of split. It's not like fully into that, what we're doing. You're not going to be as effective. So, I could spend, and Adriana could spend half the time doing that activity, but fully aligned. And someone else could be spending twice as much time, but totally like their energy is just kind of split, and they'd rather be doing something else, or they're tired. They could really use a little bit of a break, mentally. It's just not going to be the same result. So,
And I think it's so important, and I laugh because I teach that so much. And my last mindset coach that I had for me, she is incredible. She said to me a quote one day when we were on the phone. I was having this breakdown because I come from a place that was very like hustle with the fashion industry. You work very long hours, and now being in this industry, I don't have to work long hours. I can work 3 hours, I can work 4, I can work 8 if I want. It's up to me. And she said to me, productivity in alignment is amplified. And I was like, huh? And then she said it again, productivity in alignment is amplified. And I finally get it. It really is, because the thing is, when we are in alignment, what you're talking about, we can do something that used to take us 4 hours in an hour, 2 hours, because we are at that vibration where it's just flowing from us. And I live by that rule, and time truly does expand when you're in alignment. So it's been almost mind-blowing for someone who came from that background to see life in this way as I do now.
Absolutely. I love it. Such a great reminder. And Part of the reason why I love doing these podcasts and collaborating is what you mentioned a little bit ago, as far as people, being able to benefit from hearing things from different people and the way that I say it and the way that you say it. And it's just awesome because I understand fully what, in your awesome Aussie accent, like I understand fully everything that you're describing. And it's fun to see where these conversations go. The accent had nothing to do with it. I was just pointing that out. I enjoy the Australian accent. But it's awesome because I know that, and I'm all about collaboration right now. Like everything that I'm putting my time into right now is involving others. And I've also been at a phase of my life where everything that I was doing was basically just individual creation and like personal stuff and all that. So I'm enjoying right now this collaborative part of life because this is more fun. Like it doesn't I don't feel like I have to, like if I was doing a podcast by myself, which there's awesome podcasts, solo podcasts out there. I know I've listened to some of them.
Yeah.
For me, it's less work for me. It's way more in alignment and in the flow for me to not have to like carry the whole conversation. Like, oh, I wanted to get this out, or, have I planned to say all the things that I want to say? Like, I don't think about anything going into these, but because you're going to guide the conversation where it goes.
I love that. And then it really shows that you get to be in that flow. And I think that's important for everyone to remember with whatever they're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So question for you that I'm curious about, and I love the internet because these like conversations can live on, and someone could stumble upon this episode 50 years from now. And, so what I want to ask you is anything that's coming out of you. You've been sharing the whole time this way anyway, but anything that you are inspired to share with the audience from what you become aware of thus far in your life, that anytime they are attracted to this episode, you feel will make an impact on their life. Like, I'm curious what flows out of you.
Yeah, interesting. It's funny because something popped up in my mind earlier and I was like, that's a really random part of my life. And why do I feel like that's really valuable right now? And it's still in my mind, so it is something I will share, is the concept of when we are in this line of work, or whether you're in a totally different line of work and you're just wanting to deepen your connection to spirituality, to spirit, to source, to God, or just deepen your own intuition and alignment. It's whatever you want it to be. I think remembering that first is a few things, integrating both worlds like I spoke about before, and doing the work. And I think that's something I've really taken on board since starting this, really looking and being like, okay, what other things can I do to deepen my experience as a human, remember who I am more deeply, and what things exist and what do they look like? And I think a really interesting one I did recently was the experience of past lives. And of course, lots of people have really different views on this space, and I'm someone who's super open to everyone's views on everything. Of course, we're allowed to have our own full beliefs. And I did a few healings and meditations around this concept, and really deep, guided by my coach that I mentioned before, Gregoria, who really was able to take me into that space. And you drop in, as I'm sure you can imagine, and what feels like your imagination, remembering nothing is our imagination, I was able to see and feel these past life experiences. And at the time I was suffering a lot from nightmares. I'm saying like chronic nightmares, to the point I'd wake up and scream or turn my lamp on, or wake up crying and thinking, I'm safe, and literally trying to convince myself, even though I knew I was. And I was also suffering with really intense anxiety that didn't feel like mine. I had a lot of stuff to heal between me and my dad, who I had mentioned had passed away. So that's always really challenging. And this tool really allowed me to drop in and learn things about me that I was not able to access. And there's so many things we're unable to access. But this really started to shift something for me on a cellular level that thinking, talking it out, even writing it out couldn't access. And since then, mixing that with, of course, things like breath work and past life meditation and body work healing. So actually, pressing someone pressing on your body and releasing energy from your body has allowed me to have no nightmares at that degree anymore, far less anxiety, far less pain stuck in my body whilst I'm still moving some of it. But I feel this is really interesting for people because we get so caught up in speaking our thoughts and doing that mindset work, which I love because it's what I teach. But it's so important that we're tapping into that work, inverted commas, that's deeper and potentially harder to access and more stuck. I use the word stuck in our energetic field or in our energy body. So I kept thinking about that because I think it's just so important and something that's really changed my life, changed the way I look at things, changed what I've learnt. And it recently came up on my Instagram and so many people were messaging me being like, please talk about this more. And it's funny that it's popped up now. So yeah, really beautiful.
I love it. I love it. And what I love most about what you just shared is how you started it with just asking the powerful question of how can I tap, even further. And I'm not going to quote you exactly, but the premise was how can I tap more into what I truly am, like who you truly are. And you were just open to receive answers from that. And you have a coach that was able to answer that question, and then other things that have come in. And it's just so awesome for all of us. Like any powerful question like that, like I encourage so much to ask these powerful questions and then be open to receiving the answers in just various ways. I mean, they can come in any way, shape, or form. And then anytime we have an urge, an energetic urge to move in a direction and experience something, whether it be, someone that offers a past life regression, or someone that teaches breath work, or someone that, is doing yoga or meditation or mindset or anything, any little urge that we have, it's a really good idea for any of us to move in that direction and have that life experience. Not that you'll be, doing that for, days, weeks, months, years. Who knows? You might be like, oh my gosh, this is an awesome part of life and I want to experience this more and more. However, every life experience, regardless, if we love it or if we're like, ooh, that wasn't so pleasant, I don't want to experience that much more, it gives us that clarity, because how would we know either or if we didn't have that life experience to begin with? And when we ask the powerful questions like Adriana's really good at doing, she's mentioned it a few times in this episode, then we just get to just expect the answers to find us when we're ready to receive them. And we don't need all the answers of the universe like right here and now, like at one time. Like you're not ready for all those. You wouldn't have anything to do with those. And we'll never have all the answers right here. We don't have a use for them in this one incarnation, so that's awesome I love how you started it with that. And then, the experience that you've had, because I'm the same way. Like I've been experiencing different things lately where, I'll go to, like I went to a sex magic workshop last week, and it was really interesting. And I had been introduced to it before, and it was just because it was a guest that I had on the podcast invited me. And I'm really simple. You invite me to anything, I'm just going to ask myself, is this an energetic pull to go or to do something else? And whichever feels stronger, I just do it. Like I don't question it. It's just a matter of A or B. What do I choose to do with my time? And I was like, it sounds fun. It sounds interesting. And so I went to experience it. And I don't need to keep going to workshops in this area. It was interesting stuff, clarity. I'm very interesting when it comes to this part of life. I don't want to guide the conversation here. The conversation can go anywhere with me. But I just love it can go anywhere. Like I don't really guide these conversations anywhere. I just let them go where they go. But I love how you ask questions and then receive the answers and, let life evolve from there.
Yeah, I think it's something that I really love teaching people to do is that concept of powerful questions. And I always say things like, show me. And I remember when I first saw the abilities, let's call it, and I started realizing that I had some mediumship ability, so ability to talk to spirit. And one day, not thinking really much of it, I was in a meditation. I said, show me more. If there is more right now, I want you to show me. And it was intense. And I was like, okay, I didn't expect that. But that's the beauty of when you're in alignment and open to receiving, because there'll be other times I say that in life and, God, the universe will be like, no way, lady, that's coming from your ego. Like, we are not showing you more right now. But then there's that moment where I was then shown all my ability to communicate with spirit and spirits, so mediumship, and other times in my life where it's been much simpler things like show me what to do next with my business. If I'm meant to find a new coach or a healer right now, show me them, bring them to me. I very rarely will look anything up. I will very rarely research anything. I'm like, no, if I'm meant to do it, it'll come to me, because I'm so open to receiving that. And I think it's important. We can all do this, and we're all doing it whether we like it or not. We're calling in good things and bad things all the time, so we might as well just consciously call in more good stuff. So I love that came up, because it's something I'm so passionate about.
Absolutely. I love what you just said as far as not even having to like seek it out. That's so important. This is so important what Adriana just said, because a lot of times, pretty much every time when we have a question in life, we're asking it from a place of, I don't know the answer. So the frequency that we're in is from basically a lack of having the answer. So we're not really a frequency match to receiving the answer from that place right then and there. Now we can ask the question from that place and then just be really excited to receive the answer. Like, oh, I know this answer is coming. And then it could pop in like immediately. Like it doesn't have to be this huge time lag. It can come right now, but just not needing to have the answer right here and now. And when we don't need it and we're not like having to like seek it out or like force it to happen, or like, I'm going to stay on Google until like I have all the life's questions figured out. You could do it that way. It sounds like a rough go and like all the different places. Like I like to let sometimes YouTube just randomly pop videos on when I'm in the shower. It's like, oh, where this awesome new meditation come from that I didn't know exists, and who is this human that I didn't know was out here doing all this awesome work, and now I'm introduced to them. The other day I was doing a podcast recording, and at the end I thought we were closing off, and she said, my guides are telling me, have a message for you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, please share. And it was the answer to multiple questions that I had as far as what I'm creating right now with my community that just came through her. And I didn't even ask specifically her. Like I didn't say, hey, can you tell me about this? It just came through, and it was like, this is what they have for you. So I love it. Like I'm all for like answers coming in so many different ways, because we don't have to figure that part out, which makes life so much easier. Like imagine we had to ask the question and then figure out all the answers. Like I look at life as a movie. So if I had to like figure out all the different plot twists and everything that I needed to do to have that vision that I see, it just sounds like too much work to me.
Yeah, it's easy for people to think that that's the way life is, because that's also what we're taught, that we have to look for it, and it has to work hard, and all those notions that we need to then unlearn as adults, is that it's just not the truth. We don't always need to know the how, we just have to be open to receiving. And I think that's something I'm really learning now to really, really practice. We hear it all the time, the art of allowing, but it's a real thing. So I hope that really lands on the people that need that, because it's so powerful, and I forget it all the time. And I'll be like, Adriana, this, come back in, come back. And I'll come back and I'll be like, okay, I got it, we've got this. So it's really interesting, and I love this part of spirituality, if we'll call it that, because it's really just life, but it's just something that we need to bring back. It's what we did as children, but it changes over time. So yeah.
Absolutely. It's who and what all of us truly are. And like examples like yours, Adriana, and just anybody out there that, in the moment that you're living, in happiness and joy and peace and content and love and bliss, whatever it is, like I love looking at you doing what you're doing. Like it inspires me, because I know that that's me. Like there's no, like I've never looked at, and I'm so grateful for this, like I've never looked at humanity, anyone doing certain things where I'm like, wow, like, I wish I could do stuff like that. Like, I know that the same energy, call it God, universe, love, all that is, spirit, source energy, whatever, is flowing to and through them, and it's who they truly are, just like that's who I truly am. And maybe I'm not inspired to create, because I'm not, to create any technology like smartphones and like this computer, but I'm really inspired to use it. Like I have the smartphone facing me right here, live streaming on Instagram, and we have all these different other streams going at the same time. Like it's awesome. Like I'm so excited for more light bulbs to pop on like while I'm here, and I'll just always share. Like when I leave here, I just want to leave empty, Adriana, where everything I've become aware of that's benefited me is out into the world, and whoever is attracted to it and can have the light bulb switch on for them, awesome, because now they're going to be able to take that new knowing and awareness that we all, just like you mentioned, knew as little kids, to flow into whatever it is that they're inspired to create. And it could be the next piece of technology that we don't even know exists right now, or like Elon Musk, like wants people to be able to go to Mars, and I don't know how on board I am with that in this lifetime, but we'll see. And just so many other things where, there's so many of us on this planet, and all of us are this powerful energy, just reflected through these physical bodies, and we can just experience this life and have a blast while doing it, and not worry about competing with each other or thinking like, oh, I got to do this to be successful, and have all these motives. Like, just really getting clear on what it is that's important to you. And you're such an awesome example of this, Adriana. Just getting clear on what's important to you, what lights you up, what feels like really good and powerful energy for you. And then the hard work is going to come anyway, because you're so excited to do that thing. Like, that's what you wake up and you want to go do it. So yeah, you put in some hours, but it doesn't feel like you're not watching the clock like, oh, got to put in 6 hours doing this. Been there. That's a rough way to live. Some of you there might be there right now. It's awesome place to be also, because you have the desire that's growing stronger and stronger inside of you to, to be able to go out there and do something that you're really excited to do. And all you have to do, any of us, to figure out what that is one, ask the powerful question like we've been talking about, expect to receive the answer, and then live more life present in the moment, enjoying the moment as much as you possibly can, which just leaves you open for the synchronicities to find you, where you meet awesome people like Adriana, and all of a sudden you're in a coaching program of hers, or just a new friendship, or you're following her on social media right now, which I advise everybody does, just because I know what energy she's flowing through there. But yeah, life is awesome when we don't make it too hard on ourselves, and we can just enjoy the moments and let the synchronicities unfold the way they're going to unfold.
Yeah, I love how you explain that. It's so beautiful, and I 100% agree with it.
You inspired all that. I'm a little bit envious of all the natural light you have there right now. It's Tuesday morning where Adriana is right now, and it's getting darker and darker. And where I am as I speak, I'm like disappearing here. I'm trying to put my head into the lamp lighting right now.
It's like 10 in the morning here, so I'm like prime time lighting. It's super beautiful.
Time zones trip me out. Like the fact that the sun is still technically out here on Monday, and the sun is full out and on Tuesday where you are, is just like, whoa. I love it. Well, anything else that you are inspired to share? Like, I'm going to leave it open to you, but you've shared so much, and I really appreciate everything that you shared on this episode. And I know it'll be impactful for anyone that either hears it right when we release it or are watching live. I'll check to see if anybody has any questions on here. If you guys are watching live, I will check in a second to see if there's any questions. But anything else that you want to share, I would never cut time short from you or from anyone. You're awesome.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love all the different things we're able to talk about. I think that's super beautiful. I think that last, going off what you just said, that last reminder is to remember to have fun doing it, and I always remind my clients this, is that, integration is in play. Integration is in having fun. So not taking the whole process too seriously either, and remembering to be a human, remembering to play, remembering to have fun. And I think that's really something I've learned, and I've always been a very playful. I believe I come from the hummingbird, if anyone understands that part of things. We all come from this different animal, and the hummingbird is super playful and super airy and flighty, and that's me. And I really love sharing that with other people and letting that, go to other people, because it's so easy to overlook, and it's so magical. So that really is, amongst all the hard work, all the inner work, all the easy work, all of it, it's remembering to play, to have fun, whatever that looks like uniquely to you.
I love it. And very synchronistic that you said that. While you were saying that, when I said you've already shared so much, and when I was kind of Tony, who was a guest on my podcast, he's a spiritual comedian. And then you started talking about fun, which we talked about like the whole episode that he was a guest on. He's like, no, he's like, don't end. And then you started talking about fun. So Tony, I see your comment. I love it. I think I say the word fun, I'm pretty certain of this, out of my mouth more than any other word in the English language, because it's what's most important to me, because what used to be my greatest weakness, Adriana, was not focusing on the moment and thinking about the future and how I could accomplish things and have the freedom that I wanted and the success that I wanted and all these things. And it was affecting my energy in the present moment. Now, fast forward over a decade later, that's by far my greatest strength, and not taking the moment for granted and just really appreciating, right here and now. And if there is an option, like, it sounds simple because it really is, but if there is an option A and B, because I just look at life as like, is binary. It's like, do I do this or do I not do this? And there's always choices as far as what to do. So even if you're out there right now, you're working a job and you're excited for whatever the next chapter is, maybe you're not super thrilled to be there. There could be a part of that, your requirements that just sounds a little bit more exciting to do. Maybe it's like prospecting, or maybe it's talking to a certain client that you have, or maybe it's like organizing your stuff so that you're more effective. Whatever it is, there's a part of it where your energy is stronger in that spot. You have multiple choices in any time of life. My advice is do the one that sounds the most fun, the one that sounds the most exciting, because that's going to allow your momentum to go in that direction where you're feeling good, you're being productive. And now when you come back to maybe the other part where it's not as exciting, you get to bring this awesome energy that you've been building with you, and now you're even better at doing whatever that is. And this goes for everything. That's why I say when people ask me or invite me to do things, I just ask, like, is it more fun to do that, or is it more fun to maybe I want to just chill? Maybe I don't want to go anywhere. Maybe I'm in the house, and I'm totally okay with that. And I'll say I have other things planned, and that might just be relaxing. Like, it's okay. So yeah, no, I appreciate you guiding the conversation there, because what else is there? Like, we had a really big reminder here in the U.S., and I don't know how much it trickled out to Melbourne as far as, but we lost like a global icon yesterday in Kobe Bryant. And like, it's people I'm sensing for sure. It's a reminder for all of us to really appreciate the moments that we have, because tomorrow's not promised to any of us, and I for sure feel that way. And I'm very grateful that has been a part of my life for a while now, because I recognize it, how much of a weakness that was for me, a decade ago, until I asked a powerful question and attracted some information that let the light bulb shine from that. And so I like to ask people, if today were your last, would you be worried about whatever you're worried about right now? And most likely the answer is no, because you wouldn't be worried about anything. So that's awesome. I love that you took the conversation there. This has been fun.
Yeah, I gotta check in that last little bit of nugget.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I don't see any live questions. If you guys have questions, I'll make sure that Adriana gets them if you see the replay or any of that good stuff. But this has been so much fun, Adriana, and I appreciate you for sharing your love and light with us and the audience, and excited now to see what you choose to flow your energy into and create, because I know you're going to bring the same awesome energy that you brought to this episode. And definitely open for any future collaboration or anything. I definitely want to get over to Bali very, very soon. And I too
gotta do it.
Yeah, no, I too have European plans probably for summertime. I'm not willing to go from where the temperature is in Miami to what Europe is experiencing right now. I love you guys out there, and at the same time, I'm watching your temperatures to rise before I'm even thinking about making any trips. So, well.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. Thank you for the beautiful conversation, and everything you say, I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought that and articulated so well. So yeah, amazing.
Totally a conversation that I would have wanted to have with you anyway, and just happy that we were able to record it and to be able to share it so that it can impact more people. Once you start recording these podcasts, you become like a recording snob. It's like you don't want any good conversations to happen unless they're recorded and shared.
Yeah, the way of the future, right?
I know. That's how these podcasts originally started. Before I even had the idea to have a podcast, like, I'd have conversations like with people that were just powerful. I'm like, we have to record this. Like, just turn on the record button, put the phone on the counter, and just whatever it picks up. Because like we mentioned earlier, like, you'll have things come through you sometime, and you're like, damn, that was good. Like, I needed to hear that. And you're the one said it. You're the one that said it. So that's awesome.
Exactly.
Well, thank you guys out there for tuning in to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Definitely share this episode with everybody that popped into your mind, and you never know who you'll impact on social media or people that are in your life. And just excited to continue sharing these awesome humans like Adriana with you all, and rate and review this and subscribe if you're not already. Make it easier for people to find these episodes, and we'll keep having these awesome conversations. Appreciate you all out there. I've decided, Adriana, it's still Happy New Year. There's no cutoff date for me, so Happy New Year, everyone out there. Like, I don't know when to stop saying it. And my last guest just told me, well, yeah, there's Chinese New Year and Persian New Year, so I mean, you can get away with it. So, well, awesome. Well, sending you guys all love and light and positive vibes, and we'll talk to you soon. Have an amazing day whenever you hear this. Awesome. That was fun. You're awesome, Adriana.
Thank you. It was super good, super easy.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop the stream and then I'll